Hi everyone, in this video, it's going to talk about the next step in the accounting process, which is all about the general ledger. Alright? So after the journalizing part, after you journalize transactions, after you record transactions in the general journal, the next step is to prepare the general ledger. So from journalizing, or from the general journal, we're going to prepare again and again the general ledger. Now, the process of transferring entries or journal entries to the general ledger is called posting. Again, the process of transferring journal entries to the general ledger is called posting. So how are we going to do posting then? That's the next question. For example, we have the following entries. Let's say on January 1, we have cash amounting to 100,000 pesos. We have credit A Aligado Capital, 100,000 pesos. Okay? So debit cash, 100. Credit capital, 100,000. This is our first entry. So for now, allow me to not include the explanation anymore. Let's say, for example, on January 3, the company has this transaction. We have shop equipment amounting to 50,000 pesos. And we also have accounts receivable, accounts payable rather. Okay, accounts payable, that's 50,000. And we also have the third transaction. Let's say, for example, it happened on January 5. We have here expenses transaction. We have rent expense, say 5,000, and pay that into cash, say 5,000. So these are our entries. Next goal is to prepare the ledger. And how are we going to do that? Okay, on the next video. Alright, so we have again these three entries. Now the next step is to prepare the general ledger. And how are we going to do that? The first one is that a ledger is represented by a T account. Alright, it's letter T. And what this indicates, on top of this one, on top part, or kanina kahigda nga linya sa taas sa T, we're going to write cash. The account title. Alright, and here sa tumoy, let's say for example, the PR, or the account number is 101. Okay? And on the left side, this is the meaning of, the other meaning of debit. Meaning to say that on the left side, is the debit, the DR. On the right side naman, right side of the T account is the CR. Okay? Again, using the T account, this is represented by a ledger of this cash account here. We're going to write the account title, the account number. The left side of the T is the debit, and the right side of the T is the credit. So, going back here in our general journal, let's count how many account titles we have. We have cash, 1, capital, 2, shop equipment, 3, accounts payable, 4, rent expense, 5. Cash is repeated, so we count this as 1. So we have 5 account titles. So for each account title we have to make, okay, 1 T account for each account title. Meaning to say, as we counted, we have 5 account titles here, and we are going to make 5 T accounts. So we write here, letter T. So we have 1, 2, we have 3, we have 4, and we have 5. Okay? So, if we have a long list of entries or journal entries, we have more than, let's say for example, 10 account titles that we use in our general journal. That means to say that you have to prepare 10 T accounts. So remember, one account title, one ledger, using the T account. Okay? So we have here cash. So the arrangement or the format should look like this. The first one here are the asset accounts, will be followed by the liability account, the capital account, the drawing, the income, and the expenses account. So shall we have the cash first? Again, cash. It is 100,000. It's debit. Again, ang sa makita si debit, there is a left side. That means to say that you are going to post this 100,000 on the left side of the T account. So you write here 100,000 pesos. That is a debit sa left side. Kaya i-debit man yun siya. Do you follow? The next step is that we have here the capital. But before that, let's label first muna our T accounts, no? On their corresponding account title. So we have cash. Do we have other assets here? So the only one, the next one is shop equipment. Let's say the account number is 120. Okay? We also have here the liability accounts payable. Let's say 201. Next, after the liability is the capital account, Allegado Capital. Let's say 301. And the last one is the expense, since we don't have an income account. So we have the rent expense. It's 505. Say for example. So going back here, we all have labels in our ledger or in all our T accounts. So 100,000 is debit. In the first entry, it should be debit. It should be right on the left side. Do you follow? Okay? Now, for the capital account, we look for the capital account. It's here. It's the T account or the ledger account for the capital. So it's credited. Therefore, we write here sa right side. But do not forget the date. So for example, let's go back here. Let me correct it a little bit. So this is 1-1, January 1. Here, we have 1-1, January 1. Okay? Killing sa amount is the date, the month, and the specific day. Okay, so we are done with the first entry. Let's check this one. It's already posted. This process is called posting to the ledger from the entries. The same process, let's have the second entry. We debited shop equipment amounting to 50,000. That means to say, let's look for the shop equipment. It's debit, therefore there is a left side. 50 and the date happened on January 3. Alright? And a partner of that, the credit account for that is accounts payable. This is 50,000. It's credit, therefore you have to write that on the right side. And that happened on January 3. So we are done with the second entry. We posted that already to our ledger. The next step is, of course, the last one, the last entry. We have the rent expense. Okay, we debited that amounting to 5,000 pesos. It happened on January 5. Okay? And we have cash. Cash is credited amounting to 5,000. So let's look for 5,000 for the cash T account here. So it's here, the first one. It's credit. Therefore, we write here 5,000 credit. Okay? So we all posted these entries to our general ledger. The next step is that we're going to get the balances of each account title. And how are we going to do that? So let's have the process na ginatawag na footing. It's getting the balances of these accounts here that you can find in a general ledger. How are we going to do that? Ibangga na to. That's footing. Okay? Ibangga na to ang balances. Let's say, for example, we have cash. So let's have an underline here indicating that we perform mathematical operations. In this case, 100,000 debit minus credit. Okay, what's the result? That's 95,000 pesos. Now, the 95,000, asa na ito ibutang? Dari ba sa debit or sa credit? Ang rule na kingon, kung asa ang mas dako, debit or credit, mas dako ang 100,000 nga debit, therefore, dari di mo isulat ang balanse. 95,000 pesos, you have to write peso sign and you double rule. Meaning, this is the balance for the cash account. Do you follow? I hope so. Now, for the shop equipment, since there is no other amount here, you just have to double rule that one because that indicates, means to say that this is your balance amount. You also have here the accounts payable, you have the allegado capital, and the rent expense. Okay? So, the idea here is that if 9 other amounts the other side, you do footing, you do subtraction, you minus that one, and asa ibutang ang difference, ang result, kung asa ang mas dako ni side. Okay? So we are done getting the balances of all the account titles. I hope that it's clear. Again, 2 things from the general journal that is posting. Okay? Once we get the balances, we call that as footing. Now, the next step is all about trial balance. Let me show to you how to prepare trial balance.